Welcome back, everybody, to the second half of the Grim Gazette, issue 16. My name is T. Morris. I represent Old Spirits Investigations. You can find out more about us at oldspiritsinvestigations.com, which should take you to our YouTube channel. We are currently in season 3 of Old Spirits. That is myself, Phil Rossi, our families, and our friends who basically go out and we do paranormal investigations. So thanks, everybody, for being here for the Grim Gazette, which is our weekly show about the weird and the odd. We talk about paranormals, we talk about cryptids, but this particular portion is a deep dive. It's the deep dive portion where we get into the serious minutia. Instead of doing quick debunks, we get into the details, and that is what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the paranormal on YouTube. Now, I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to open it up with this video. This video is from JC Arts. And yeah, he did this video a while back called My Message to Omar Gosh TV. And I want to take a moment to just share a little bit of what JC had to say about this tweet from Omar Gosh. Okay, so let's have a look.
Making a quick little video here talking about a tweet on Twitter, or well, X today, but this is from a very popular YouTube channel named Omar Gosh TV. Very popular. This guy has been doing paranormal content for years, and even got me to do a live stream watching a lot of his content, and we had a blast watching Omar Gosh. I can't lie about that. Now, personally, I'm not a die-hard fan of the content, but that's just my opinion. I'm not saying anything bad about the guy. I'm not saying anything bad about the content. You know, it's very entertaining. I'll give him that. Understandable. It's like, okay, this works for some people. I get it. It's very popular. Understandable. I can see where it's coming from. But he made a really recent tweet, and we're going to talk about that tweet in my personal opinion. I'll give you guys what I think personally when we go into this, but I've been doing a lot of kind of social media posts by popular YouTubers that have to do with the paranormal, or paranormal YouTubers, or things like that. So I figured let's go ahead and talk about Omar's tweet. Here we go. I'll read it to you really quick and give you guys my thoughts. Removed my last video. No one wants to watch ghost stuff anymore, which is my personal opinion, not true. People love ghost content. I try different stuff and they still don't watch it. Probably getting close to my end on YouTube. It is what it is, and I'm thankful for the ride regardless. I'll keep trying, but I'm getting tired. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is where he says no one wants to watch ghost stuff anymore, which in my opinion, again, is not true. I think a lot of people love paranormal content and love the kind of stuff that he has been actually giving. I mean, the last video he posted was like 200,000 views. How is that bad? It's not bad. That's the blunt answer. It's not bad. That's phenomenal. People would kill to have those numbers. So I don't know where he's going off of with that. That no one's watching it? Dude, come on. Come on. Probably getting close to my end on YouTube, which is a big leap. A big leap. Why would you want to quit YouTube? The only thing I can really think of when he says this is because a lot of other content creators have come out saying they're going to quit YouTube. What was the most recent one? Watcher, with the whole controversy with Watcher, where they said they're going to leave YouTube and yada yada yada, all this controversy happened, and we already know the story. Yeah, that whole situation with the guys from BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Okay, so if anyone doesn't know about BuzzFeed Unsolved and Watcher and what happened there, I'll give you the TLDR version, the TLDW version. Basically what happened was the guys from Ghost Files, if you haven't seen that, Shane and Ryan, nice guys, massive knuckleheads. They're playing this for the yucks. They're playing this for the laughs. You've got Ryan, who super believes in the paranormal, and then you've got Shane. Shane? I believe that's Shane. Yeah, Shane and Ryan. And Shane, who is an absolute skeptic. So basically, you've got Ryan, who is on edge, and Shane, who is just making fun of everything that's happening around them. And recently what happened was that they produced this very slick, very polished, very intentional video that was supposed to tug at your heartstrings. It was supposed to make you feel like, oh, wow, these guys have done so much good stuff. And they were basically saying, we're leaving YouTube. And it made people go, well, what's happening? Why are they leaving YouTube? And they actually used their goodbye video to launch their own streaming service. And the backlash was real. It was really intense. And before the weekend was out, literally within 72 hours of them releasing the video, they backtracked a bit and said, well, we're not going to leave YouTube after all. And it was weird, but I think what JC is talking about here with Watcher is slightly inaccurate compared to Oh My Gosh. What the impression I was getting from Omar was that he said, I just don't think people are watching the ghost stuff anymore, and I think I'm going to leave YouTube. Now, again, I think JC is absolutely right in that respect. That was a huge leap to go from no one's watching ghost stuff to I'm going to leave YouTube. And I really do appreciate where JC's coming from in his video here. He's basically saying, you got 200,000 views, man. That's great. Problem is that he has several million subs. We're going to talk about that in a sec. Yo, Islander, how you doing, man? We're going to talk about this in just a sec. We're going to watch a few more minutes, and then I'm going to jump to a different video. So let's just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, the whole thing about people aren't watching ghost stuff anymore. I'm leaving YouTube.
And now this comes out, which I think Omar has been doing YouTube for probably as long as BuzzFeed was around, I think. So it's pretty crazy that, two people around the same time period of doing YouTube are kind of coming out with content, messages like this now. So I think that was a big leap, and it just felt kind of forced in there.
Hold that thought, Walker. Walker just said, Omar has hung around with the Mind Seed folks. Take that with a grain of salt. Please hold that thought, and you will see just how in tune. This is why Walker is part of our team. That statement right there, that statement is why he's part of our team. You'll see in a second, man.
I'm not even sure if he's really going to be quitting YouTube. I just think it feels like an attention seeker moment right there. Why would you quit YouTube when you're doing so great at it? And it kind of shocked me when Watcher quit YouTube because they were doing phenomenal at it too. It's like, why would you want to do that? People would kill to be in your position where they could have that many subscribers and that many views and making that much money and getting all these sponsors and stuff. It makes no sense why you would just want to do that. And I just don't get it.
Hey, Walker, maybe you're the plucky comic relief. Did you ever think about that?
It is what it is, and I'm thankful for the ride regardless. I'll keep trying, but I'm getting tired. And my last thing I will say about this tweet is if you're getting tired of the paranormal content, don't drag everybody else into it. Just say that you don't want to make paranormal content anymore. Or maybe if that is your reason for wanting to quit YouTube, just say that you're getting tired of doing YouTube. You want to do something else with your life. People will understand, but the way you come about it is that nobody's watching your content no more, which is far from the truth. People are eating up your content, man. Look at my channel. I've been doing YouTube for 4 years now, about 4 years now, and just getting back into it. And I barely scratched almost 30,000 subscribers. You are at 4 million, if not more than that.
So, and I appreciate what he's talking about here. I appreciate what he's talking about. He's got 4 million. The problem is you've got 4 million subscribers, and then you've got the most recent paranormal content, which barely cracked 200,000. If you've got 4 million, you're expecting some pretty higher kind of returns. A good example is the guy that has brought a lot of new people to my stream, Doug. Doug has several million people watching him, and on an average, his videos always crack 1 million. Just a while ago, I want to say the Doug video where he puts himself against Twitch for Dummies just cracked over 1 million. Where he has posted it, and within 2 days it hits 1 million. So there is a difference. There's a difference in the kind of content that Doug produces versus what Omar produces. And Omar is basically saying, yeah, I don't think people are watching anymore. And then he makes this statement about yeah, I'm just tired. And then he basically says this after getting 200,000 views, which in JC's eyes, that's pretty sharp. But I think what JC is missing is that he's had 200,000 people watch that video, and he's got 4 million people in his wheelhouse, if you will. He has 4 million. So where are the views? And were the views higher in previous videos than the ones now? So these questions and more, but let's look at another video that I've set aside. And you'll recognize this fellow. There he is. There he is. The man with the magnificent beard. It's our boy Beardo. I love me some Beardo. We're going to pick up this video roughly 5 minutes in. And we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about what's going on here. And you'll notice this video, Walker, this video is Mindseed TV, What Happened? Yeah, you can't see it yet because I haven't brought it up. I haven't brought it up, Jake. I appreciate everybody's excitement. I appreciate everyone's excitement, but there it is. I'm just getting it pulled up. We heard Beardo. Beardo scares me. Beardo scares everybody, but I bet you anything he's got a heart of gold. I believe it. And if he doesn't have a heart of gold, don't worry. You have a heart of gold. And Beardo will gladly eat it. Just remember that, okay? Just remember that. Okay, let's get back to it. So we're going to start the video about here. And I know, man. I know this beard. I could never pull off that look. That's a killer ass look. But anyway, let's pick up the video from this point, and you'll see where I'm going with this.
Becoming stagnant. I think so. But I'm not talking about the real paranormal. I'm talking about, is it lost in the top 10s? So is the top 10 veering away from it and now going down the route of UFOs, aliens? Because there is a difference. You know, a UFO is an unidentified object. An alien is a being. Top 5s, top 10s, even really haunted dipped his toes into top 10s. So is the paranormal on YouTube? Has it lost its clout? Has it lost its way? Is it in danger of becoming stagnant? I think so. But I'm not talking about the real paranormal. I'm talking about the blatantly fake paranormal. I think it's losing its hold on YouTube. I mean, right now, Mindseed's UFO skin alien, the UFO, the aliens, found footage, top 5, top 10, it's doing much better than their actual paranormal investigations. They're not paranormal investigations, really.
He's talking about Mindseed. So basically, if you missed it, and by the way, Jake, thank you very much for keeping me honest. I appreciate that. I do. But he's talking about how Mindseed has stepped away from paranormal investigations. They're doing stuff about UFOs, top 10s. I mean, even Omar at one point, I mean, he was doing like conspiracy theories. He was doing what really happened on 9/11. Not even, no, it was one in particular that made me go, whoa, okay, that's a bit tinfoil, but, you know, good on you, pal, if you can make it work. He was doing, one of the things that Omar was doing was he was doing things like, 16 YouTubers go to a haunted house, and, you know, and he did that for several seasons and stuff like that. That's what some of these other paranormal groups are doing, Mindseed and so on. They're starting to do stuff that isn't paranormal investigation. And Omar has been called out by debunkers for faking evidence. And Mindseed, I've watched Mindseed once, never again. And I have Beardo to thank for that, which means Beardo owes me a beer. And I mean, the point I'm getting at is that they are now starting to step away from paranormal investigation content, and they're starting to do like top 10 spooky things seen on Reddit and top 10 UFO, files and all these different things. That's what Beardo is referring to.
Bad ghost hunting videos that are edited well. The actual ghost investigation side of it is poor. The video quality is good. And they seem to have stepped away from that. And Exploring with Josh has stepped away from the paranormal. There's a lot of people stepping away from the paranormal and further going down the route of urban exploring and things like that. I mean, fair play to Josh. On his way out, he fired shots at some fakers out there and was like, yep, you want the truth? There you go. Sent it to all the debunkers. Fair play to him. And then if you go and look, I'm not going to keep showing other people's channels here. But if you go and look at Sam and Colby, hey, they got 5.8 million views on an investigation with Joe Rogan in the thumbnail. That should have done massive. But Just Go Hotel 2 months before it had 12 million views. The Conjuring House videos were 20 million, 17 million, 17 million, and 12 million. With Daz Black. I like Daz Black's gaming. It's hilarious. Is the paranormal losing its clout? No, Sam and Colby range between 10 and 20 million per video, usually. That seems to be taking a bit of a dip. I mean, the Demonic Encounter Island's Most Haunted Castle did only 5.6 million views. Still incredible viewership. Massive views.
Right,
but
right. But not
far less than they used to. I mean, there's a 3-month-old video on it that's only got 7.6 million views. Do we need to be worried about the state of the paranormal? Do we need to be worried about this? In fact, if you go and look at whatever channel you want to watch in regards to the paranormal on YouTube now, viewership is pretty much down across the board. Or could it be because these channels have been going for years? Maybe people have become a bit stagnant with it. Is it because there are more debunkers now than there have ever been? I mean, years ago, there was only The Shape and Mr. Grey. Now they're everywhere. There's tons of debunking channels. There's people claiming to be debunkers that have no right to claim to be debunkers because they just shit-talk people without having a clue, or say things like, if you use an app, you're fake, and then kick off and say, I've never used an app, prove it. And then when it's proved, that's a different app, it doesn't matter. So this leads me to think there needs to be a change in the paranormal. There really does. The fakery, or the fake channels, Lainey and Ben called it a day, and now they're doing talk shows where they suddenly don't seem to mind debunkers so much because it's not impacting their pocket. I mean, has anyone ever heard from Smug Puppy? I haven't heard from Smug Puppy in ages. Is he still doing stuff? Across the board, viewership is down in the paranormal. There are teams that I enjoy, very small teams, because when you look at the fake paranormal, they're in the millions. When you look at the real paranormal teams, they're in the thousands. Very few, very, very few break the 100,000. But they all seem to be doing okay. These smaller, real-based channels seem to be growing. The fan bases are spreading out amongst debunking and the real paranormal teams and all integrating. So maybe there is a shift coming. And maybe it's the right shift. Maybe that's why everyone is getting so frustrated and angry and screaming and shouting at anything a debunker does. Is it because the focus is starting to shift? Is it because real teams doing real investigations, whether they capture anything or not, are starting to get the views, are starting to grow? Is it because this community of real-based teams and debunkers is in the exact same place the fake paranormal teams were 7 to 10 years ago?
And that's where I'm going to stop. I highly recommend you check out this video. The video is Mindseed TV, What Happened is the Fake Paranormal on the Decline. And here's the thing that I've always loved. I mean, when people talk about, oh, Beardo scares me and things like that, the truth is that Beardo, the reason I watch Beardo and the reason why I enjoy Beardo's content is because he actually does call it like he sees it. And he doesn't like all the same groups that I enjoy, but like he enjoys Amy's Crypt, he enjoys Paranormal Quest, he enjoys the lovely ladies of Adelaide's Haunted Horizons, and he is absolutely right. What I thought was ironic, when this dropped, I was actually working on paranormal content. I was working on the Antietam episode, which is now sitting in Phil's inbox. So he has to do his black magic with the audio, and then we can get into the hopper, and then I'm going to turn around and give him Wayside. But here's the point that I'm getting at. I agree with what, and here's sort of the box. This is the corner, if you will, that a lot of these fake paranormal channels, or if you don't want to say fake, I mean, I know you want to say fake, but if you have like your content ramped up to 11, and what I define that is people like Sam and Colby, people like there was another dude, I always blank on his name, Logan something or other. It wasn't, I can't. Or no. Shane, no. Oh, I'm trying to remember his name. He went to the Queen Mary, and he was an absolute he was an absolute asshat to the people, and he was just absolutely losing his mind over nothing. Like a camera would catch a reflection in a window on the Queen Mary, and he thought he had seen the devil incarnate. It was that kind of thing. But when your content is ramped up to that level, if you've got your paranormal content ramped up to 11, and then you suddenly say, well, I'm going to crank it down to 2, that's going to piss off a lot of your fan base, because they've gotten used to you, and they've gotten used to you approaching everything like it's a demon, everything it's a possession. You're not going to see Zach Baggins ramp it down for say, ghost hunters, right? Now, let me give you an example though of people who have their content cranked up to 11, but then they brought it down for the ghost hunters. It's Project Fear. Project Fear actually teamed up with Taps. And how you doing there, Dutch? But they teamed up with Taps. And I thought to myself, this is going to be awkward, because Project Fear has an entirely different way of doing paranormal investigation. And I do put big quotes around what they do with paranormal at that time. At that time, I would put big quotes around them being paranormal investigators, because they were doing something entirely different versus to what the ghost hunters did. But when they did that, when they took their usual, cranked up to 11 content and brought it down to a 2, which is where ghost hunters usually, resides. Oh my God. I was like, these guys are actually good paranormal investigators. And then if you go back a few Grim Gazettes, I basically talk about how I feel like Project Fear is truly one of the most underrated of all the investigation teams out there, because when they want to turn on the investigator mode, they turn it on hard. And they call it like they see it. And I appreciate that. But Project Fear is also a little more open about what they're doing. They're basically saying, we want to know if fear has an effect on a paranormal investigation. So they are ramping it up. But these other teams like Twin Paranormal and Sam and Colby and the Yuccaputses who rented out the Conjuring House and got dressed up as priests and ran around. I mean, what they're doing is just, it's not even paranormal. It's not even paranormal investigations. It's paranormal entertainment. And if you suddenly decide, I want to change gears and do something different, that's not gonna land well because the fan base that you've built is expecting you to call out a demon, be possessed, or whatever. And now, with newer teams out there, people like Old Spirits, and not so newer teams, but the teams that are just starting to get some notoriety, people like Amy's Crypt, people like Paranormal Quest, people like Paranormal Encounters, Adelaide's Haunted Horizons. These are people that we regularly watch, and I'll also throw them in there too, because why not? Ghost Club Paranormal. Now, I feel like Ghost Club Paranormal is starting to stray down that path of because I've noticed they're saying like demonic, possess. They're dropping those keywords, and I told Phil straight off the bat, if something like that happens to us, it better be freaking legit. It better be full on Vecna. We should be turned into origami in front of the camera. But when I got attacked, we called it a paranormal attack, which I think was it was better than saying that it was a demonic attack. It was better than saying it was a demon. It wasn't that, but it was something that didn't like me and singled me out. Yeah, Dutch. If you go back to part 2 of the Charleston investigation, season 3, episode 2, it's the Charleston investigation, and something weird happened to me. Oh, I'm good. No, Dutch, I'm fine. No, I cleansed afterwards. I kind of had a moment with the Lord. And I said, am I good? Am I okay? And and I had some people, talk me through, just ways of making sure that I was good. Now, if you're skeptical and you're like, well, how do you know you were attacked? What happened was I felt excruciating pain while I was in that house. The moment, I am not exaggerating, the moment I got out of that house, it was like somebody threw a switch and I was fine. But was I rattled? Yeah, I was rattled. And it's all in part 2 if you want to see it. But that's the other thing that makes real paranormal investigations, I think, more appealing to people on YouTube, is that it's not always ramped up to 11. I mean, when we look at the body of work that we have at Old Spirits, in our first season, we caught a shadow figure. But have we caught a shadow figure every week? No. We've caught some really good electronic voice phenomenon. Yeah, we've done that, and we're very proud of that. But we have caught activity we cannot explain. We have had strange noises. We've had strange personal and recorded experiences, shared experiences that we've actually captured on video. But it ebbs and flows. Sometimes the groups that we watch don't catch anything. They catch nothing. And the people watching those groups go, oh, it's like fishing, which you've heard me talk about. It's like fishing. You might have a good day one go round, and then you might have a really quiet day the next. And I think I think Beardo is absolutely right. I think there is a shift. I think there is something changing in the world of the paranormal for YouTube. I think people are no longer buying so much into what Twin Paranormal, what Mindseed, what Omar. I don't think people are buying into what they're selling. And you see, I really do believe that the future of paranormal television, at least real paranormal investigations, how it really goes, I think you see that in the smaller teams that Beardo was talking about. And if you were to ask me, well, would you want to have like 4 million people or 20 some odd million people sub to your channel? I mean, that's a double-edged sword. You're gonna get an audience, and if you're wondering what do you mean by it's a double-edged sword, I'll give you a good example. There are people that have been commenting on Doug's, after finding me through Doug, they've said some pretty nasty things to me. They have said some really nasty things to me. Now, that is a handful of people. For every one person who has made a snarky or nasty or just downright hateful remark to me, I've had 20 some odd people go, this is so much damn fun to watch. And you take the good and the bad. It's part of the internet. It's not even part of the internet. It's part of entertainment. There are people that think that the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, was a bad trilogy. I don't know who those people are, but I mean, it's, oh, no, Dutch, that I'm expecting it. I'm expecting it because you cannot please everyone in your audience. But then you have to decide, what kind of content do I want to create? And I mean, it's even happening to Paranormal Quest. They're trying to do live investigations, but and I don't know where they got this statistic, but they basically said the YouTube algorithm prefers that you shoot a video like this, not like this, when you're doing something live. You want to go like this because they want to compete with TikTok. They said otherwise YouTube suppresses the channel. Haters gonna hate. Exactly, Dutch. Haters gonna hate. And my thoughts about horizontal versus vertical is, if I'm gonna go live on YouTube, I'm gonna go horizontal because I want that much field of view on a paranormal investigation, right? If someone says, well, that's going to screw up your analytics, I'll be like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's the content that I, and here's the other thing too that I would say is that when you're creating content, you have to be strategic about how you're approaching it. How do you want to be associated? Now, so you hear me talk about that. But then we look at just using it as an example, we look at the video that I did of Doug, of my reaction to Doug and Twitch for Dummies. The only thing paranormal about that was at the very end when I said, I want to take Doug on a paranormal investigation, preferably to the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. And I stand by that. I still want to do that. Absolutely. That has not changed. But why did I do that reaction video on Old Spirits as opposed to my T Morris account on YouTube? Well, one, I'm not active with the exception of archiving my gameplay and my live streams on there. It's just a giant archive. And maybe one day I'll feel inspired and I'll do something on there. But right for now, I am not active there. I am hella active on here. I am hella active on Old Spirits Investigations. So I went on ahead and knowing full well that I was going to get some reaction, albeit I didn't realize I was going to get this kind of reaction, but knowing I was going to get a reaction from that reaction video, I was like, okay, I'm putting this on Old Spirits, putting it under Grim Gazette, putting it as like a special episode. There's some paranormal in there because I talk about the stuff that I do on the channel, and that's fine. So right now, the most watched video on Old Spirits Investigations is the Doug reaction video. According to popular strategy and popular belief, that when you hit that mother load, you do it again. You push that button again. You tap into it again. Here's the thing. I am not going to be doing another video that's going to react to something that Doug has done. Because one, I'm not involved. Two, it's got nothing to do with paranormal. And three, unless it is a collaboration where Doug and I go on a paranormal investigation, welcome back, Spence. If it's not the two of us going on a paranormal investigation, it is not relevant to this channel. Because that is the kind of content I want to create. It might mean that I have to work a little harder to get the kind of numbers that I'm currently getting with this Doug reaction video. But that's the thing. You don't necessarily, I understand why people try to do the same thing. But for example, I remember watching this one person in the paranormal circles who did a reaction video to the Sam and Colby thing that happened at the Conjuring House. It got him huge numbers, not even close to the numbers of any of his other stuff. So he proceeded to do another video, and then he did another video. And I stopped counting after 5 videos within a month that he did about the Sam and Colby thing that happened at the Conjuring House. And to me, that was just like whipping a dead horse, you know? And I've only watched 2 streams, and I think you're an amazing streamer. Well, that's thank you for that. I seriously, I do mean that. I mean that. Thank you. If you go there, I want to go. Oh, hell yeah, buddy. Hell yeah. Of course, Walker. But the other thing too is before the Doug video, what else were big hits with Old Spirits Investigations? Well, if we did anything involving Project Fear, we'd get the Project Fear fans. They'd come over. So what did I do? After doing that live video, I did a Project Fear review, and that got us huge hits. That got us huge traffic. Then I did a review of, and then I did the Grim Gazette where I talked about Project Fear. That got us a lot of traffic as well. But again, I'm not necessarily going to constantly tap that vein. I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing, it's the content that I want to make. and it's the content that's relevant to what we're doing here. And sometimes it's just wild, blind luck. A real good example, when I look at the popular videos, right? Not counting the Doug reaction video, the next big reaction, the next big video that we have on this channel was my original review of GhostTube. And I said, and I know a lot of it had to do with the title. It was like, GhostTube, is it legit or lame? Our review. 20,000 views, which is huge for us. It is huge for us. But then I look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6 top 5s. 2 of them involve Project Fear. And then there's Doug. There's the review of GhostTube. And then there is the review of the Spirit Box, the PSB 11, which got us about 3,000 views, but that gets us a lot of comments as well. And then there's my review for 28 Days Haunted. Again, I know for a fact, part of what got me the traffic on this one was the title, which was, I watched 28 Days Haunted so you wouldn't have to. And the thumbnail is the 28 Days Haunted title and me doing this. Right? So I get that. And it's heartbreaking to me, some of the videos that don't get the same kind of love. Like, for example, how to find EVPs. That's got a whopping 267 views. What you need to get into ghost hunting. That's gotten me 123,000. 123 views. We find some others that kind of break my heart, because I was really proud of the videos that I put together here. Oh, this one was one of my favorites. What's the difference in video cameras, right? What's the difference between, besides price, what is the difference between a really high-end $1,300 camera and the $100 camera? I explained that in detail. 87 views. Does that mean that I should stop doing these type of tips and advice videos? No, because I love doing the 5 Minute Paranormals. And what I like about it is that nobody else in paranormal are doing it. They're doing reviews. They do, paranormal teams do reviews, but no one is doing these little short videos that Phil and I do. And Spence was in one of them. And I was very proud of that little video we did. It was Spence basically saying, here's what happens after you get back from an investigation. This is how you kind of center yourself. 71 views within 10 days. And I love it. I do. I love it, Spence. And I hope you're as proud of it as I am proud of it. Also, it was hella fun to do it with you too. But giggity. Anyway, and I haven't even gotten to the investigations. And here's where, man, I just feel I just kind of shake my fist at cloud, that kind of thing. If I went back and looked at, say, one of my favorite one of my favorite investigations was when we did Crescent, right? Your wife watched. Double giggity. But this was one of my favorite investigations, was Crescent. It was a massive investigation. It was 12 hours locked in a prison, right? And Crescent is a very popular place. And it I've seen other people's investigations of Crescent, and they kill it. I look at ours. The first part 1, 280 views. Part 2, 226, and they've been online for a year. On the flip side of that, though, the original TWA flight 514. Which you all know about that, right? You know about how important of an investigation that was for me. TWA Flight 514, 1,500 views, but it took 2 years to get there. And the the thing is though is that I don't let that deter me because I'm like, this is the content I want to make, right? Um, if it was about analytics, if it was about, um, what works, all we'd be doing would be reviews. But that's not the kind of content I want Old Spirits to be known for. I want it to be known for realistic investigations, investigations that surprise people, and investigations that make people want to find out more about the history, or they might want to dive deeper into something related to that particular show. The other thing that I pride Old Spirits on is the 5 Minute Paranormals. It's very unlike any other channel that's out there. What channel did I say it was on? It's this one right here. Hold on a second. I'll drop that in here. Well, it's there. And if the link is working right, it'll take you straight to here. So either one will work. Either one will work. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, Walker. Real investigations, exactly. As Beardo was saying, real investigations, real settings. And the thing is, it was something that mutual friend of ours, Val Cassie Hobbs, that you've seen in chat. She used to work for. Oh, thank you for that, Dutch. It'll probably pop up here in a second. But one of the things that I pride ourselves on just recently, we started doing this thing where if nothing happens in an investigation for like a chunk of time, we show elapsed time. And I remember Val said something, and knowing Val's experience the way I do, it's very humbling when she says to me, I love this because you're depicting how you are sometimes sitting there for what feels like a short eternity and nothing is happening. And that happens sometimes. Um, Now, I will say, watching the numbers, we've been also been playing around with how do we do the format of the show? How do we deliver the content? Is it better if we do part one, take a little break, part two, take a little break? This season we're doing part one, part two, little break, part one, part two, little break, and I can see that there's been a spike in numbers, and that's where I'm going with this. Is that I don't think that people have lost interest in the paranormal. I think they've lost interest in the over the top shenanigans of fake paranormal investigation, paranormal entertainment. Let me rephrase that. Paranormal entertainment. I Now let's double down here. Do I think that part of that is related to the brouhaha that happened at the Conjuring House this past Halloween? I think in the words of Billy Joel, we didn't start the fire, but I think that might have fanned the flames a little bit. I really do think that fanned the flames. And it's one of the things that I'm actually planning to ask Jason Hawes when I see him at Paracon. I'm going to ask him, what are your because even Jason Hawes is starting to take baby steps into YouTube, and he's doing some really neat stuff. One of the things he did that I thought was extremely cool, he did this. He did this. This investigation, or at least a preliminary investigation, or a walk around of this place in New England. I think it was like a Victorian castle, or it was called the something castle. I can't remember right off the bat. But he was using a 360 camera. So you could play it back on your phone horizontally, I might add. And then you could do this. You could move your camera left and right. It was like you were right there with him. It looks like you were right there with him. And you could turn around, you could see Jason behind you. You could see the other guy in front of you. And you could look up, look down. And literally if I had put this in a visor, like one of the ghost tube lenses or one of those visors where you okay there, bud? where you put the phone in the visor, it would have been basically VR. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty freaking cool. Um, and I'm anxious to ask him what he thinks of the paranormal on YouTube. Does he think that this is where some teams are, sorry, somebody's bony little butt is rubbing up against the okay, buddy? Come on. Come on. Yeah, 360 camera. A 360 camera. And Sly Gamer, it's always nice to have you in stream. Glad you had a pretty decent work day. But yeah, I do think that there is a change. I do think a change is coming. I think it's long overdue. I'll be the first one to say that. I think it's very long overdue. But I also think we should go in with eyes wide open. You know, because um, you know, this is still it's still very easy to pull the wool over people's eyes. You don't necessarily have to make it big. It could just be a popping of bones, if you will. And we at OSI, we get accused of that, which is why I do the open review of footage, because you're seeing me just slog through all of those hours of audio and video, and no, I am not going to doctor this because it's just the return on investment is not there. It really isn't, even for clout. I want you to experience what I'm experiencing. I want you to kind of pick up on the vibe of what I'm picking up on. And it's funny because I think as a team we are succeeding in doing that, at least with people that we bring on investigations. I know that Walker, in stream, he had a very different experience from everybody else. And if it sounds like I worry for him, it's because I do, because I want to make sure that it doesn't shake you so hard like what happened with me in Charleston. Yeah, I was shook. I had something really bad happen. Yeah, but I'm the same way. That's when you know you've been bitten by the paranormal bug, because you're like, okay, I had something happen to me. I want more. And I would also say it happened at Crescent. Some weird stuff happened in Crescent that I can't understand. And we captured most of it. We captured most of it on camera. And is it a disappointment if we have a light investigation where not much happens? Of course it is. You don't want to spend hours looking through audio and listening. I'm sorry, looking through video and listening to audio and not have something to show for it. You always want to have something to show for it, sure. But going back to using as an example Amy's Crypt, there have been some investigations they've done that I'm like, that was okay. That was okay. And then there were some investigations I was like, that was insane. and it is my hope that even if you walk away with one choice moment, something that absolutely blows your mind, that's when you go, that was a good investigation. And that's the way I feel about every investigation. I can say that I think for the most recent investigation that we did, part 1 at the Bird Theater, I think the moment that blew everybody's mind, and you know what? I don't mind showing it to you. For those of you who missed the premiere or haven't seen this entire investigation, we are at the Bird Theater, the historic Bird Theater in Richmond, Virginia. Okay, and right now, Phil, as you can see, Phil is here. He's blindfolded, and he's listening to a spirit box. The spirit box is the device that goes, and if he hears something come through that box, he repeats it. So the thing about spirit box sessions is they can be just random words being spit back at you, right? They just, they're just random words that spit back at you, and there's really nothing to it. And then sometimes you get spirit box sessions that sound like this. Here we go. Did you and Anna come to the movies here? Did Anna Eventually?
Okay.
Do you want to tell us what you saw here? What did you see here?
Gone with the Wind.
Wow. Wow. Okay, I gotta walk away from that. Did you enjoy The Gone with the Wind? Did you like that movie?
So.
It's kind of long, isn't it?
It's two different movies, isn't it? It's not my favorite. What movie did you prefer? What kind of movie did you like? Wow. That was nuts.
We're like,
You strike me as more of a type
Stooges.
that tracks.
It does track. So you prefer the three. So if you want to see the entirety of this ridiculously good Estes method, it's this type of evidence. I'm going to use the E word. It's this kind of evidence it's really hard to dismiss. The fact that of all the things that he could have heard coming out of that spirit box, he heard Gone with the Wind after I said, "Did you see any movies here?" I will say, this was one of the more strong sessions that we've had with an Estes method. Now, is that proof that ghosts exist? I can't say that. I cannot say that at all. I cannot say that at all. But I can say that it defies logic that the answers were that responsive, and yeah, that kind of evidence is very different. It's a very and I think this is why, going back to what Beardo was talking about. I really believe I think Omar is wrong. I think people are still consuming paranormal content. I just don't think they're consuming the over the top, bro, dude, bro kind of content. Right? Exactly. Exactly. It's more relatable. Instead of saying, "Oh my God, it's a demon." You're in a movie theater and you ask, "So did you see any movies here?" And the person under says, "Gone with the Wind." And I do think that, yes, there is change in the air. I think Beardo is absolutely right. And I think that Beardo, if you watch Beardo's video, and yeah, it's linked in the show notes for this particular episode, he says it's something we should watch. It's something we should talk about. And I think that the pendulum is swinging another way. And it gets harder. It does get harder. Like, why watch us versus when you can watch Amy's Crypt or Paranormal Quest? They've been doing it longer. It's because that every group has a different vibe about it. For me and Phil, we're a couple of knucklehead dads that said, "Hey, let's be paranormal investigators." For Amy's Crypt, it's a very different ball game. She goes into places that are super dark, and some of the places I admire, some places I'm like, I don't know about that one. And there's some other places I'm like, no, absolutely not. I will never go there. And with Paranormal Quest, I consider Paranormal Quest. I saw their Crescent video, and their Crescent investigation was really slight. It was really tight. It was good investigation, and I would describe them. I would say Phil and I are more like classic rock. Those guys are metal. And I dig that about them. And Adelaide's Haunted Horizons, it's like, yeah, we're a couple of we're a couple of ladies that are spending our grandkids' inheritance. So here you go. and yeah, I do. I think there is there's a definite shift. And I think we should all be aware of it. And I think we should welcome it. Because after 3 years, I can't tell you if there is life after death. I can't tell you if ghosts exist. I can't tell you any of that. All I can tell you is there's stuff that's happening that I cannot explain. It defies everything that I understand about how the world works. And I will also say this too. I have also rediscovered some history that makes me go, wow, that's kind of cool, but also kind of sad. And we've got to make sure that we never get pushed to this point again. And yeah, I really believe that. And I do hope that that we continue to grow as a channel. We've been growing, exponentially ever since I did that reaction video. But again, that's not going to be the common kind of content. If that's the biggest video I ever do for this channel, so be it. So be it. I'm focused on sharing my personal experience, my personal paranormal experience with you. And hey, Bewilderbeast, good to see you in the stream. Good to see you, man. I'm gonna focus on making the best paranormal content I can. And if you all invest in that with me, it's a bonus. It's a bonus, baby. It's a bonus. And on that note, we are gonna wrap up this issue of the Grim Gazette. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here with us tonight. Thank you for taking part in this. And if you have a paranormal clip you want to share with me, so I'm going to take a more critical look at it, be my guest. You can drop a link in the comments down below, or you can go to our Discord and you can go to the Grim Gazette room, share weird news, share paranormal clips. Go on ahead and challenge me. And if you have a topic, if you have a paranormal deep dive topic that you'd like to see us cover in the Grim Gazette, by all means, go on ahead and drop it in the comments. I would love to tackle something else that is that's brought on by the listeners, by the watchers, by the members of the Monster Mash, if you will. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. Until next week, you know what to do. Stay weird.